Hi, everyone, and welcome to our July Dev Dives. Today, our subject is related to automate, test, and deploy in one place with unified developer experience. As you know, because most of you, I think, were present at other Dev Dives as well, we have 60 minutes. We have demos and we have a live Q&A, so you will be able to unmute yourself at the end after my colleagues present the subject. You will be able to unmute yourself, or you can ask the questions in the chat. You will receive the recording. You will receive links and deck as usual in the follow-up email. And we will also have a poll at some point. You will need to answer a few questions, so be patient and watch out for that as well. And these are our speakers today. So we have Alex Iordan, Senior Product Manager at UiPath.
Andrea, I don't think you're presenting yet. If you can share your screen, please.
Let's see.
Thanks. No, I'm just on it. This is just a Teams. No.
What about now?
I don't see it yet.
Now?
It's still loading.
It's loading, yeah.
Oh,
it's visible now.
perfect. Perfect. Good. This was the important slide anyway. So we have our people here. We have Alex Iordan, Senior Product Manager at UiPath, and we have Mukesh Kala, RPA Manager at Boundaryless Group, and our dear UiPath MVP. So I will now stop sharing and give the mic to
Pass
Alex
it to me.
and Mukesh. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So I'll start a bit from the beginning, if you can see my screen. So this is what you're going to see today, is the automate, test, and deploy in one place with unified developer experience. And just before showing it to you, actually, it's my pleasure to have Mukesh here with me to showcase it to you. I'm going to speak a little about how we reached at this point, because I believe it is important. So probably all of you know what robotic process automation is, and it started with automating mundane tasks on your computers. But then things evolved, right? We've did a great job here. So we are the leaders of this market, and things keep adding to our platform. And you can see here, let's say, a timeline where you can see how everything started with RPA 2018, and things get added to it. So we added API integration with low-code apps, orchestration, governance, cloud, all of those good things you're using every day. And it reached nowadays to use large language models and Gen AI activities and all kind of cool stuff. And today you're going to see parts of that, part of what we call an agentic automation platform. So, as mentioned, the current heritage we have is to be #1 in the enterprise automation platform market. We have more than 10,000 enterprise customers, 3 million community members, some of them here. Thank you for being here with us, and 7K plus business partners. Now, Act 2. So on top of what you've seen, we've added agentic automation. What does it mean? It's bringing agents to play. So we believe that agents think, robots do, and people lead. As let's say advisory believe, it's not having everything, but also making work in one place. So orchestrating and scaling up together with agents, it's what we believe it is different, and we believe to do a great job there. So On top of Automation Cloud and together with Orchestrator and with what you can build in Studio, we build a good place for agents and robots and people to work and play together to, let's say, um, address much more scenarios that they were able to do before. Path Platform is that uh, as we were leaders in RPA, we are perceived as leaders in the product vision, strategy, and execution for AI-powered automation and automation platforms by all of these institutions here. So you can see how we have best-in-class tools for all the parts you can put together in your automation, be them process and task mining, a document processing, structured document processing, or test automation. That being said, now I believe it's more clear about what is the moment we are referring to in time and what you're going to see. And I'll leave the floor to Mukesh to show to you the power of the platform. You can have it,
Great.
Mukesh.
Thank you, Alex, for the introduction. Guys, I'm going to share my screen. And let me know when you're able to see that.
We can see.
Okay, awesome. So I am going to start with a problem statement and maybe some question for you guys. Okay, so assuming that tomorrow I join a company and I become a procurement manager for a company, right? So now I am a procurement manager in a company and I receive a lot of requests from my employees. Somebody says that they just write an email saying that, hi Mukesh, I have brought a MacBook. Want to approve it? Somebody just says that, hey Mukesh, I have bought a Lenovo laptop. Approve it. Somebody says I have an headphone. Approve it. Now I cannot just simply approve all those requests. So what I need to do? I need to verify whatever the purchases are there, whatever purchase they have made. If that employee has raise the correct request as per his level, and all of this take a lot of time to do it manually. And if I have to portray this into a formulated, so what would be my goal, right? Let's talk about the goal. Sorry, I missed the goal. So my goal today is to develop a solution that will evaluate each and every PO which I am receiving against my company policies. And if there is some employee who is not following that thing, I want to raise an escalation. So if I try to draft it in a process flow, this is how it will look like. Okay. So I would have a robot, which is an RP robot. Whenever there is an email which is arriving on my mailbox, the robot should read the email, download the attachment. Once it has downloaded the attachment, then it should verify whether it is a PO, it is a receipt, it is an invoice, it is a passport. So I need to classify the document. Then once I have classified, then I have to store all that information into some place. Let's call it data service for the validation or for the next set of steps. Then I need to have an agent which will actually retrieve all the basis of the employee. So this employee had just sent an email. I do not know who is that employee. If he is an employee of my company, he's a senior manager, individual contributor and all. And based on that level, the company has policy. So for example, if someone is sending an invoice and he is a senior IC, he is eligible for a purchase of MacBook and a car. But if he is an individual contributor, he is just eligible for a Lenovo laptop. But if he is an individual contributor, I want to inform his manager that, hey guys, your contributor is asking for the thing. So I want to add that information to a RPA robot for doing something, maybe a ServiceNow ticket to the manager. Then once I have all this data, I want to populate all the things and I want to do the comparison that what is his eligibility, how much he has raised, compare it, and then maybe get a final result. And if there is exception, raise a human exception on the fronts. If I try to put it as a architecture, most of you I believe are the solution developers, so you would understand that if I have to today put this thing into a diagram, so I would start the process. I would get the employee request, which is like, let's say, integration services. Then I would have an RPA process that will download, extract the information with the help of document understanding. Then to put this information, I would need data services. Then once it is in the data services, then as Alex was mentioning, we would have agents. That agent will work. That agent will validate whether he's a manager, individual contributor. If he's a manager, give him the MacBook. If he's an individual contributor, give him a laptop, and then add it to the RPA queue because he's an IC. And then once you have confirmed this thing, go to the agent 2. For this agent 2, it will refer to the policies, company policies, GenAI activities, context grounding, and then you would have an agent which will do the validation comparison from these two agents, this everything. And then if the policy is broken, you would need to raise it to the supervisor. Based on supervisor, some a summary request, approve request, and the process and all of that. Right? So this is the complete process which today I have to automate as a developer. Right? Now I have a question for you guys while you have seen this problem statement, and I want Andrea to just pull up the question, right? If today I tell you guys that, folks, you have to develop this process, right? And let me just see the poll when the poll is coming. Andrea, can you
Coming.
just pull up? Coming. Okay. So here it is, right? So you have to automate this complete process. Now you have to give me answer of these questions. So do you guys get the poll? You can maybe just say yes on the chat if you get the poll. Okay. So guys, are you able to answer to the questions on the poll?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Looks like a complicated process to me, Mukesh, to be honest, what you've drawn
Yes,
there.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. And if you see, Alex, right, there are how many different components we have to integrate? Integration services, document understanding, data services, robots, GenAI activities, action apps, orchestrator for sure, and Maestro if I have to orchestrate this complete thing, and a lot of
Yeah.
different stuff, right? So I have to create a lot of different solution, and people who are coming from RPA background and coming to this, right? So you would have to write a lot of code. So let's just wait for give some
And
time.
also maybe in
Yeah,
different places. I can imagine you
maybe
jumping
different.
from
Yeah,
one place to another and okay,
yeah, yeah,
let's not think about how you'll put everything in one place to actually work in production. I don't want to think about it.
yeah.
Let's see.
So once people have answered, maybe then we can see the results and then we can take it forward. Because if I have to do it, if I am writing RPAs, what I would ideally do is I would write the RPA, deploy it to orchestrator, then maybe write an agent, call that process from my agent, then write a DU process, deploy it, and do all of that hassle, passing of the argument, variables, all the different resources, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe we
guys,
can
we'll
ask on the
still check.
chat if there is
Yeah,
still anyone answering or all of you have
yeah.
managed to provide
I can
answers.
see
Okay.
only 34 of 83 have answered. I think, guys, are we good to close the call? Uh, Close the poll, sorry,
The
not
poll.
the call. Okay. Okay, if nobody says no, so then I think we are good to close the poll, I guess.
It will be nice if we can see the answers. Is it possible, Andrea?
Yeah, I see, but
Yes.
share results. Can I do that? Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, sure.
Can you see them?
Yeah, but we need to
Uh,
see the actual answers. So now we see only the percentage of.
Okay, let's see.
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah,
I think we need to share
Yeah,
yeah.
you can
You can
the
share. You can share.
screen.
Yeah, yeah. I can stop the
open it in
sharing. That's
browser
fine.
and yeah, sure.
So
Mhm.
yeah, okay.
That will be interesting, I believe.
Yeah.
Sure. So this is the first one. How many automation projects are required to fulfill the use case?
Okay.
Mhm.
3 seems to be the most
5,
common.
Popular.
6,
Mhm.
multiple.
Okay.
Great. Great.
And then the second one, how much time would you estimate for delivering a solution that automates the end-to-end process? 10 days.
Okay.
Mm,
There are some minutes and hours over there as well.
Weeks. Okay. Somebody
Okay.
has 40 days. Oh, that's great.
Okay, and the third one. Did you know that you can design the entire use case in one single place using UiPath platform? Yes.
Okay. That will be a good feedback at the end, so we understand whether the guys that answered with yes were actually looking at the same thing we were looking. But yeah, I believe we are in a good shape. Thank you guys for sharing the responses with us.
Okay,
Thank you.
so I'll just share my screen again. Share my screen. Tick, 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 tick. Okay, let me know once you're able to see my screen, guys.
We can see.
Okay, great. So I was explaining to the use case. Let me quickly show you the input files and show the structure and then maybe just directly jump to it, right? So this is the input mailbox where you can see that I have two emails which I have received, right? This guy mukeshkal@gmail.com has requested for a Lenovo laptop, and this is the invoice. There's a second guy who has requested for a MacBook, but I don't know who is that. I just received these emails, right? Now, if I have to today first write a solution, what I have done is I'll just go back to my UiPath platform. Here it is, home, right? So since all of you are existing RP developers, so I believe that you will start from here. You will go to Studio. The step one for me would be to extract that information from the email, download the attachment, extract that information and put it into some tables, maybe a data service. So for there, I have got something which is called data fabric, right? You can see that I have a table here, which is the PO request. And in the data, I do not have anything, right? It's completely blank. So I have written a small workflow, an RPA workflow in advance so that you guys can relate to, right? So today I'm an RPA developer and this is a simple RPA workflow, which looks like this, right? Because since you already know what is RP and all, so I just build a solution to get started with. Okay, I'll just load it. So here what is happening. So first thing is you just go to the email workflow and I'm going to build the rest of the components, right? So you have an automation here which says download the attachment. If you go here, again, the same thing, get me the email. This is again coming from integration services. You read the emails, you download the attachment. Forever, whatever attachment you are getting, upload it to the storage bucket, right? Plain, simple, straightforward automation, nothing fancy. Once you have that, then I am extracting the information, which is like, is the file available? Then you download the file if the file is available. And here, if you notice that I am using a document understanding IDP activity, which is called the generative AI extractor. And to extract the data from the documents, I am just writing the prompts, which is like this, right? That from the invoice, I'm interested only in invoice number, the total, ordered, and that's it. And I just save this. So this workflow is just going to the emails, which is
Yeah.
this.
Me too.
Okay, maybe we can just mute the guy. Okay, fine. So here from this email, this workflow is only extracting the information and putting into the table. Now, we also have a workflow. Let me just go here and I'll just try to run it and you can see how it is working, right? So my data fabric is blank. So this is an RPA process. You start with this, you read the emails, you extract the information, and I just go here and I say test on cloud. I am just using this integration service connection and the storage bucket to upload the files. And I say save and test. And what happens in the background? Again, the same thing. It goes to my integration service mailbox connected to my Gmail, get this information, extract this information, put it into the storage bucket, extract the information using the document understanding, and put the data back to my data fabric, which would be this table, right? So we just have to wait for this to complete. And as a developer, you notice that I am doing all of that into my browser. I am not going to UiPath Studio, and this I have created directly here. We can see all the different kinds of logs and everything. And meanwhile, this is running. You would also notice that now I have all the different resources which I might need during my development into the same canvas, which means that I have used an integration service connection here. So you would notice that the connection is already available into here. I can just right click, you can remove it, add it, do anything. If you want some queues, you can define it from here. I have used storage bucket. You can see that is directly linked to the solution here, right? So once this is completed successfully, what should happen is it will extract all that information and it should go and put the data into my data fabric. I'll just wait for it to.
Maybe it's worth mentioning that it's not only the resources, it's also that I can see you're now working on more than one project at a time, so a bit up.
Yeah.
I can see that it's not only one project, but
Yep.
multiple projects
Projects.
there.
Yep.
So this is, let's say, how we can work for to have the entire context there. And
Okay,
yeah, we can retry. And also what happens here is that everything that that we see in the left part of the screen, the resources and the required projects, everything gets provisioned, so they are in place for the debug session. We will see a bit later that they will also be taken together in order to perform the deployment. But yes, this is the power of solutions, having everything in one place.
correct. Okay, so provisioning solution completed. Happens every time in the live demo. Okay, so yeah, so it has started reading this attachment. Everything is successful. RPA workflow ended, right? So nothing fancy here. Let me go to this data fabric. I hit a quick refresh, and in the data, now we have 2 records for those employee, and they have extracted all this information from them. Okay, now the next part here is I'll park this for a while. Now I have the information what is there, what the employee has requested. Now I want to also know who is the employee, because as of now, if you see as an input, I only have the email ID. I do not know who is this. Is an individual contributor, he is a manager, or what. Like every other company, my company also has a database. My company database is this, which is employee master, right? You can think it of any other database, and it has all the details of the employee, like manager, all this with employee ID. So you would have understood the context that we would need and process here again, which will go to my storage bucket and extract this information that who is that employee, is a manager, senior manager, or what he is, right? So let me go to my this again solution. So now you can see that this complete thing is a solution. I already added this. I'll talk about this in a bit moment, but now let me show you how easy it is to add a new project here. So I'll just go add, and then I'll say, you can see that you can create a lot of other things. I'll just go and I say I want to create a new RPA workflow. And now into the new RPA workflow, I'll just wait for it to load. Okay, and then you can just right click on, you have an option to rename here. I can just rename it to something like this, RPA underscore get employee details. And I say, okay. And same like any other RPA process, you have this guy, which is the main.xaml. Now you would notice that into the same project, I have the second RPA process as well. Now into the second RPA process, same like any developer, first thing you would always have is something which is called input and the output argument. You can just select this process, go here, open the data managers, add an argument. So I would need an argument which would be for my email ID, because that's what I want. So I just go here and I can create something like this. I can say that this email ID is input argument, and I can just say create. And then out of this process, what do I want? Because that process has to go to this and extract the information. So I'll just go and create some of the out argument, something like this. I want to know what is the employee level. So maybe I'll just copy and paste it from my notepad. So it's easy. So this is my out argument, and I say create. The next one is I'm interested to know who is the employee. So I'm also interested to know the employee name. So I'll create a out employee name, create it. Then I'm also interested to know what is the employee ID, right? Because without that, I won't work. So I'll just create an out workflow, do it here, and create it. And that's it. So I created the variables and arguments required for this process. Now, all I want to do is I want to query this guy, which is the data fabric. And for that, I can just go here and I want to query the entity. So I'll just search here, query the entity records. And that gives me this, right? Now it is loading all the dependencies and everything, whatever we do. Now, the thing here, if you notice that I have this entity already available into my context. Why? Because if you go to the solution here into this one of the previous process, I have already utilized not the storage bucket, my bad. Into one of the previous RPA workflow, I have already utilized the same thing. So that's why it is already available for me into the available entities, which for me is nothing but the employee master. If you notice here, this is the name of this thing, employee master. Now employee master is asking me, how do you want to put the filter? So I just go here, create the filter, and into the filter, I just wanted to specify that you can see all of this is pre-populated, right? Based on the entity. My email ID should be the variable or the argument, which is the in email ID, and save this, right? So now what will happen when this program will run? It will just go and get me that entity. Now from that entity, I want to extract the information. So you can use loops also here. I just go and say for each, and then I say whatever data you have got into the output records, which is this, right? From there, I want to extract some information, and for that we have the assign activities. So I can just say assign the task, and whatever arguments we have populated into the out one. So to which variable into the out employee level, I simply want to use the variables. You can see how easy it is here. I can just say variables and it will show everything. So whatever is there in from the current master, what do I want? I want the level. So I just say employee level, and that's it. I want the name, so I can use one more assign activity. I want to assign it to name, so I can say change the variable. I can say employee name, who is the name, what is the name of the employee, and then again I'm using variables, going to the loop from the current employer, give me the name, right? So that's how easy UiPath had made this for us, where you can just, I do not have to use my keyboard. If you would notice that everything I'm just doing with my mouse, right? And the last thing which I was interested is I got the employee level, I got the employee name, and maybe let me just get one more into here. I can say maybe the employee ID, right? And in the employee ID, the same thing, variables from this current employer and the employee ID. And that's it, right? So I had written one more RPA flow into the same project. And just to validate that, you can always use something which is called the log messages, so that you don't have to trust me whether this works or not. You can directly see the output, right? So I can just print maybe the out employee level, employee ID, employee name, right? And now I have created one more RPA flow. Now to test this, I can just go here and I say test on cloud. And remember, I had an input argument. So now I can just pass the input argument directly here. When you run it end to end, this would be passed from the workflow, right? And then I can just say save and test. So my solution is getting slowly fulfilling all the requirements, right? So if this solution works everything as expected, it should go to my data fabric, and from the data fabric it should go and get me all the details, right? And now the good part about this thing is that whatever entities or whatever thing I'm using is getting added to my project. Here, these are the processes, which means that I can use them somewhere else. Storage bucket, all the dependencies, whichever you have used, right? So started, this is successful, and you can see that it is able to give me that employee ID 003, and this is Mukesh Kala, right? You don't have to trust me. You see here, this is this guy, employee 003, right? So that means that I was quickly able to pull up a thing as well. Now, so what as a solution now? As a solution now, I have who is the employee who has made the request. I have a table into my data fabric. Let me just go back to that data fabric as well. Okay, here it is into the entities. So I have two tables. One is the employee master, and then I know that who is the employee who has made the request, right? And now to get the thing, I have also written and same in the similar way, I have written one more process, get the employee submitted data, because the employee submitted data is available into the data fabric. You want to know what is the data they have submitted. Similar way, query the entity record, put the data, and just give me the details, whatever the employee has submitted. So you have now 3 RPA processes with you. The first process is First process, go to the email, extract that information, put it to the data fabric. The second one, give you the employee details. The third one gives you the employee submitted data. So now you have all the 3 different RPA processes to work on. Now comes the interesting part. Now I want to do that. Let me go to the solution, right? So now if you see here, we have got this part is already sorted. We have this. Now I want an agent which will verify the employee level and the policies. Because as soon as it comes to policies and all those details, I would need the context. Let me quickly show you how does the policy today look like. So for this company, this is the policy. HR has given some policy. They say that if you are a senior manager, 10,000, you are eligible for a MacBook and all, right? But I do not want to do a semantic search. That's why I need an agent. For doing that, what I have done is, I think we can go to the orchestrator, and this document, whatever I just showed you, let it load. I'll go to this into the here. Not in the storage bucket, my bad. Context indexes. So I have added that document as an index into my orchestrator, which the processes can refer. Okay, my bad. It's not in this folder. It would be the shared. Yeah, here it is. So asset purchase policies is available and uploaded into my orchestrator, right? Now back to our solution. Now what do I need? I want a agentic process, which I just pass the employee level. It should go to this document and tell me what is my policy or what am I eligible for, right? So for that, let me just go and create an agent. So I'll go to this again. If you see the same experience, I'm adding it in the same place. So I say add an agent. Okay. And this agent I want to call, let it load. Okay. So I can just go, and you can just, by the way, you can just write a description and start from here, but I'll just go and say start the fresh. And then here, I'm just, in the interest of time, I'll just do a copy and I'll do a paste, right? Don't worry, I'll explain you what I have done, right? So if you see here, what I'm telling this agent is that your goal is to validate the employee details, and you would be having an input, which is the email ID. Whenever I pass an email ID to you, you just have to use the input from the get employee detail and get me the employee who has submitted the request, which is nothing but this get employee details, right? This one, this RPA process. Next, you have to get me what is the policy. For that policy, you are supposed to go to the indexes and from there, get me this. Then you have to give me the output in this format. And this would be my output I am expecting from this agent, right? So I've created a simple agent where the input is an email and I am expecting it to get me the details that who is the employee, and whoever is the employee is, let's say the employee is Mukesh, he's an IC. For that IC, what is the policy into the orchestrator? Okay, so for that, I'll just go to the agent and I'll just rename it to agent underscore PO underscore EMP underscore lookup, right? Because I'm trying to look up for the thing, for the employees with the help of an agent. Now, for an agent, you also have something which is called this one, which is the Open Data Manager. And here you have to just specify what is the input. So if you notice here, my input is only an email. So you can just go here, add a property, or you can also use this guy, which is better for when we are doing a copy paste, right? So I have just created it like this, right? So you just add a email, which is the input, and as an output, I need this thing. I need what is the policy validation result and what is the employee is eligible for, right? So in the output, I'll again just copy a structure. And here you can just create an entity and you can just add it here directly, right? But just do a copy paste and then I can show it to here. So what I'm asking this agent is that, Mr. Agent, you need an input, which is an email. And as an output, I want 3 things from you. One is the employee lookup, that who is the employee. The second thing is what he is capable of. And then what exactly is the compliance justification as the as per his policy. Okay, so I can close this data manager now. Now, for this agent to work, what do I need? So I just write a prompt This email ID, this is in green because it is created. Previously it was red. If you would have noticed, now it is green. Now if I come down, this is, you have to specify that what is the user prompt. So I can quickly say that as an user, I would be only providing you a input variables, right? Now it is needing a tool. Now, if you notice here, if you are doing it without this experience, first you would have to deploy these projects. So if you notice, all of these projects are still in my development. But if I go to the tool and I say add a tool, you would notice that everything which I have is available here. So I can just say, go here and use this tool, which is rp_get employee details, which is from the solution folder. How cool is that? Right? And then this is asking me, where is your employee email ID, right? So for now, let me just put it here, but you got the drill, right? That we will pass it from the email, right? So this guy is referenced into your agent get employee details to retrieve these details, and that's the tool which is added. Now the second thing is, to know what is the policy, it requires a context, and the context is available into the orchestrator. So you see here, add a context, and then you would see that all the contexts which are already available. So I'm in this folder and I can say that this is my asset purchase policy. I can select that, and that's it, right? It's better to add a description. So I'll just add a description here that this is a policy here, and this automatically got the details. And that's it. By just writing these steps, I have completed my agent. Let's try to test it on the cloud. If everything works as expected, what should happen? I am expecting it to, so it says asking me
Maybe
the email. Now, if you see
maybe
here,
we
I
can
want to,
spend
yeah, yeah,
one more minute here around testing
yeah,
part because someone asked on
yeah,
the chat. So these are also some improvements we've done in this area, right? So as you'll
yeah.
see, Mukesh is able to provide some test related inputs, and he can control a bit the tools here. He'll explain, and
Yeah.
I'll follow up for some more afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, great. So as you can see here, I have the solution resources. Now, if you see, these are the solution resources which are coming from the solution, right? And into the project, we understand that it requires an input, and I added two tools. Now, sometime what might happen, your tools might not be ready at the moment. So now we have an option here. If you toggle this on, it is simulate, which is like I am asking UiPath that just to simulate this, that this actually happened, and you just have to write here that how do you want a tool to simulate. Similarly, if I just go here, it will ask me for this one, and but I have the tool, so I'll toggle both of these to off, and I can just go here and I say save and test. You want to add something, Alex, here before I go save and test?
No, I guess I'm good.
Okay,
We can make a sneak peek in the evals afterwards.
okay, and then I can say save and test, and then let's see this. We just have to wait. But if you notice here into the same solution, I am gradually getting all the stuff added, right? So 3 RPAs, agentic process, I didn't deploy it, still I am able to utilize them.
So one thing to add here is that you'll keep hearing this, that the agents are only as powerful as their tools. Thing is that you need flows that are predictable, that are deterministic, and for those you'll have tools that you are in, you design them precisely how they work. While for non-deterministic ones, say for instance, understanding a policy and acting accordingly, like maybe you have a contract and you receive an email and you want, for instance, to say, okay, is the request coming from this email in line with the contract and stuff like that, you can easily use agents for stuff like that. But yes, you'll need an agent tool to access the email, maybe to read some attachments in the email and stuff like that. So this is how everything gets together, right? The agents together with the tools in one IDE that's easy to develop and to test and yeah, to fulfill the use case. So let's see, what do we have here?
Great. So it completed, guys, and you can see that this was the input and this is the output. So before I jump to the input output, you can actually see what actually the agent has done, right? So it has did an LLM call, This was the pre-governance. Then it triggered that tool, which is get employee detail, which is this process, right? And the same output which I had got from the data fabric. And remember, I didn't deploy it yet. The next one in the post governance, it just add this, then it do another call, which is now to the storage bucket. This is the complete policy, which is there into the data fabric, into the storage bucket index. And then here you can see you can download it and do all the set of stuff. And then once everything is done, I have instructed my agent just in plain English that I want this. Now, if I go to the agent output, this is what it is, right? So you provided the input as the email ID, and you are getting this result, which is the email ID of the guy is this. His name is Mukesh. He is an IC. His reimbursement limit is 3,000 and he is eligible for a Lenovo laptop. And this is the compliant justification, right? So by just writing this thing, I was able to get this from the referring to the tool. Now here, we would just like to go to this one, which is the into the health score. Let me know, Alex, wherever you want me to go. I can just go to the tab, right? It
So
is calculating my agent. Yeah.
No worries. So this is fairly new, right? So this is an experience targeted towards agents. So as mentioned, being non-deterministic, you want to adjust this prompt and the way the agent works, so it becomes more and more deterministic. And you have here a score that supports you in that regard, right? So you see that your prompts are evaluated, the tools, the input schema. So we try to help you as much as possible defining a predictable agent. And not only that, so you see this here, but in terms of evaluations, and Mukesh,
Yeah.
please go there, you can set up a battery of tests that for the input, you know how the agent should react to. You can
Yeah.
actually create those tests. And
Yeah. So I
yeah.
just use autopilot.
Exactly, it will be far easier. So let's see.
Yeah. So I just use autopilot and I'll say that, guys, I want to have the evaluation for this thing because you gave me a 0 score. So help me to create that, right? So the input is automatically gone to autopilot, and then it should give me this, that evaluation score is this, all these things. And it is trying to create those evaluation scenarios, right? And these are all the evaluation scenarios still working. So you could see that as a developer, I only have to just instruct it, right? And then these are the examples which are covered. So you can just utilize them into your, while you are creating the evaluations, right? So let me go here, and these are the evaluation set. Maybe I'll just open
These are the
this.
instructions, right? So if you
These are
go
the
to
instruction.
the,
Yeah.
if you expand the agent project in the left
Yeah.
solution,
And
right?
then I can go to the
You see a
evaluations. Yeah.
section there, right? Evaluation, if
Yeah.
you can go there, right?
Yeah.
And there you'll be able to set your evals and you can add all kind of inputs, all kind of expectations. So you get scores based on how the agent performed against those inputs. Yeah, I believe this covers a bit on the test part that's specific to agents. So now maybe we can move on, and maybe it will be the time to see how everything fits into one single piece in on a better
Yeah.
diagram view. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I have all of this. And the next thing, if you remember our diagram, we would need a second agent, right? So similarly, I created this. I can just create a new agent and that I'll add. Good part here is I can just go here and I will just create, I can create actually a agentic process, which is nothing but a BPMN. And there it allows me to do this complete orchestration into a single platform, right? So now,
And not only that, let me add something
yes,
here. So you'll be able to design within here, and I guess Mukesh will show a predefined one, pretty much the entire process. But the key thing is that this is a very good tool to interact between the business persona and the developer, right? So the business analyst or the business process owner can express his intent in such a diagram without coding, without technical details. He only will be able to express the flow of the process and then assign them to be implemented by the development team. So yeah, Shall we add something here or?
Yep. So I can just go here and I can say, just I'll show you one quick and then we can maybe I'll show the other diagram, right?
Mhm.
So it's very easy here. So you have all these components here. I just went here and I added a task. Now, what do you want to do? So I want to, you can, if you want to wait for an agent, you can do that. But for me, the first thing is to wait for an start and wait for RPA workflow.
There are so
Yep.
many options. Maybe we can spend a
Yep.
little time looking at
Yep.
that. So we have the RPA workflow that everyone knows, right? We have action app task, which is our way of bringing human in the loop whenever needed. We have agents, external agents, the new API workflow, which is in preview, which is a way of, let's say, putting together API calls from different connections. Working with queue items, also directly executing integration service connector activity, also maybe some just script that you want to execute in there. So a lot of goodies in this canvas here. Back to you, Mukesh.
Okay, so we say start and RPA workflow, then it is asking me which automation you want to work, right? And you can see that these are all my defined workflows. So first I want to have the email workflow. So I can just go here, email workflow, and my email workflow didn't have the any input because it's just going and adding the data to the data fabric. Now, if you want to add another thing, you can just go here and add a new task. This one, the good part here is if I just select an RPA process, and this is what I wanted to show you, that whatever arguments you have defined, sometime I become blind in the drop down. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So for the second one, let's say I want to get the, okay, the get the employee submitted data, everything is taken care by that, right? So let me just quickly call an agent for simplicity. Okay, so I want to call an agent. Now, which agent you want to call? As of now, I only have one agent, which is this agent PO. And as soon as I select this, you would notice that all the three output arguments which I have used here are mapped here, and they have the defined variables as well. And you can just pass this from the workflow which you have, right? So if I'm reading with the help of integration services, it will come from the IS workflow directly, that who is the sender. And that way you can just keep on mapping. So for example, after this, you want to call another agent, you can just do that and keep on building a flow. For that, let me quickly now shift to the one which I have already built, right? So if you see here, this is the same solution which I have created, 3 processes, the agent PO, the agent employee lookup, which we just made live. And then for the validation, I had one more agent, which is just comparing all of that, where I have an email ID, I have added some more tools, I'm doing the validation, and then I have this agentic process, which is the BPMN. So if you'll see here, this is what Alex was talking about, right? So we can have, I started the event, I extracted the information, then we look up the agent, and then if you find out this, if it is an IC, which is an individual contributor, we can create a queue item. So this goes to the queue. So I have a queue into my orchestrator that I have just configured here like this, that I want to just add it to the queue item. And once that is added to the queue item, then go for the validation. If validation is successful, go to the action app. If that not, then you can create an employee. Send an email, and then it ends, right? But you got the idea that all of this I have done into a single solution. And the good part here is when you are working on individual pieces, you have to do the deployment multiple times, right? Alex, you want to talk about the deployment experience a little bit?
It will be interesting to see
Sure.
how
Yeah.
this can be monitored and maybe to be deployed. So the let's say the publishing part is easy,
Yep.
right? So you'll be
Yep.
just pressing the publish button, and I actually can you cancel this a bit?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So let me point you to something here. So can you please open this deployment configuration?
Okay.
Okay, so even before publishing, you'll get to see the entire structure of your solution. It can be grouped by folder or by type. So you can see each resource and their specific types, and pretty much you can configure them. So if you click here, for instance, on a process, the first one, let's say, so you'll see the configuration of that process as you are used to see it in Orchestrator, and you can also configure it. But once you publish it, everything gets together as one piece. And maybe we can switch to that
Yeah, orchestrator. Yeah.
orchestrator, yes. We
So
should
I'll
be able
just go.
to see
Yep.
the solution
Yep. Yep.
package there and
Tenant solutions. So
yeah,
once you publish it from there, it would be available
Yeah.
into the packages, something like
yeah.
this, right? And then you go to the deployments and you just deploy it and you have to select a folder. So while deploying it, I selected a new folder. So it created the dev dive master for me. So if I go on there, you would notice that all these processes, all the 6 processes are deployed at one chart. I do not have to deploy the individual processes. I do not have to manage all those variables and all,
Mhm.
right? So yeah.
While you're on this screen, please stop a bit. So because someone asked in the chat about MCP servers, you can see them at the top of the screen. We are in staging here. They are in preview, so please use them. Back to you, Mukesh.
Okay. So now once I have gone here, you would notice that all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thing which are inside the solution are deployed to the specific folder via a solution management, right? Once it is here, to start the process, I'll just go to the agentic process, which is my BPMN, right? And you will see that everything, whatever is required is again can be configured here, but I can just go and maybe I'll just say start it and the agentic process, and I'm just starting it. Okay. Once it is starting, you could notice that it is running. You can click on this I button here and we can, okay, no, my bad. I went to the wrong I button. So in the agentic process, you can click on the I button and you would have an option here, which will take you to Maestro. And here it is, right? So whatever we just created, you notice here, just maybe do it like this. And you'd notice that whatever we just mentioned is working here. RPA, extracting the information, going to the employee lookup, doing that, and you would notice all of that things here, right? While
Are we
this
able to
is
see
running,
previous executions? Yeah, that would be
yeah,
maybe.
action, action history. No, okay. I'll just go back here.
Yeah.
And here it is. So maybe I'll go to the one which we had here, 1 hour 14 minutes. Here it is. Okay, so it's not opening. Maybe I'll just open this one. Yep. So this is the previous execution thing, and somehow it's not loading, but I think I can switch to that one because I think we changed something. Okay, yeah, so here it is. So you notice that it has completed the flow, right from this to going to the agent validation, and it parsed the agentic thing as well. And now we have some options here where you can just see whatever it did. It broke at the action app because I didn't have the action app. So action app task is missing. But the good part here is you can do all of that, the deployment, everything here. So Alex, let me know if you want to
So,
talk
yeah, that
about,
we
yeah,
are almost at the end. So just before jumping to the Q&A session,
yeah,
the one thing to mention here is to see that you know specifically the version of the solution that this execution is. In case something is wrong and you're managing and you manage to fix it, you have the option of retrying. Okay, so maybe we can just try to retry. We won't proceed, but just click on that so
yeah,
we can see what's happening here.
retry.
So yeah, so this enables you to retry the flow from the last completed step, which means that, for instance, if you have a transaction that started a couple of days earlier, you don't start from the beginning. It will only retry that step that failed. Or
This one.
in our case here, if we would have a bit more time and we get back to solution and actually implement that escalation app, then
Yeah,
we can migrate this, right? So you can publish a newer version. You can get to the 105 version of the process, and then you can retry the failing part with the newer version, right? So you have the option of fixing in place this entire workflow. And yeah, we believe this to be a very powerful tool. I guess that was from my side. Mukesh, if you have something else.
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. So yeah, I can stop the sharing and we can answer the questions, take
Yeah.
feedbacks. Yep. Okay. So I see.
Hi, Mukesh.
Hi, Bhargav.
Yeah. So far I haven't got opportunity to use this web version of Studio. I have been using the traditional version of UiPath locally. So I'm just trying to understand, for example, if we have some configurable files or config files, kind of mapping files or something, before starting the automation, bot has to read them and it has to work according to that. In such cases, how this integration is going to work, like web version? Can you help me in understanding that?
What is the information in those files? Is the information that might typically stay within some assets?
Yeah, maybe we can say, for example, we have two applications in which we have vendor names, and in both the applications, the vendor names are different. We have created a mapping file to understand that in this application, this is the vendor name, and in the other application, this is the vendor name. So in such cases, we have to create the config file, right? So how we are going to, this web version is going to read that config file and work according to that.
So that's a great example, actually. So imagine you have that information of the vendor in an orchestrator asset, right? And you design your solution to be exactly the same for both vendors, but it's that during deployment, right? So when you actually deploy the solution, you get to actually, part of the deployment, you get to set the value of that asset to the required vendor. So if you say, I don't know, vendor X and vendor Y, right? You have one solution deployed in one folder, and you set for that folder the asset to be to the value X, and for the other solution deployed to a different folder to be to the value Y, right? Those solutions, each on their own, will work pretty much the same, but every time they are required to look for the vendor, they will provide a value in the asset, and it will be respectively X or Y. Does it make sense?
Yeah, but yeah, understood.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions, guys?
Sorry, just an extension to that question, my previous question. Is there any way that even still we are using the web version of this UiPath? Can we read the local file? Is there any such
So,
provision?
so Studio Desktop will also be solution aware. Okay, so you'll still be able to add projects that can be edited in Studio, in the desktop version of Studio. So if you can do that there, then the solution will contain that logic as well, right? It's
Okay.
out of scope for today's presentation, but I believe you'll see one about that in the near future.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions, maybe in the chat? Mukesh or Alex, if you wanna look for one last time before we close?
Seems like Alex has replied to all of them.
Yes.
Any questions, guys, which we have not answered? Maybe you can just unmute yourself.
There's some feedback
Okay.
about about having sections on the presentation, so I believe is a very good suggestion here.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
I'm Mukesh. My name is Naveen.
Go ahead, Naveen.
Yeah, so is it about the agent? So we are providing that information, right? Input and whatever we required, the goals. Is there a particular format are we for using, or we're providing like how we want for the agent?
So I
Text and-
created directly a copy paste, but if you just allow me just one more time. So basically, when you just go here, you can just say just give a prompt, right? So you can say write agent to convert language, something like this. So it has a format, and this is going to guide you where autopilot is there. It is going to guide you in a step-by-step manner. So I already had this, so I just copy pasted. It's not a plain text. It is basically already templatized for you here. That is the word. So
But it's a
let me
conversational,
Yeah.
let's say, way of working, right? So you talk to autopilot at the right side
Yeah.
of the screen, and you see the suggestion. You decide whether they can be accepted or you want to improve them. You should really
So
play with it a bit because it's
we
easy.
can
Yeah.
also provide our format to this autopilot and get suggestions from it.
Are you asking about the prompts in the center part of the screen or about the chat with the autopilot?
No, in the center, like a system prompt, we need to provide, right? Like a system
Yes.
prompt, user prompt. So there,
It's mhm.
for that, we can ask that autopilot to like whatever requirements we have and get that from there. You're saying.
Yes, and not only that, right? So you can write it on your own, or you can go exactly, Mukesh. So you can get a help from autopilot, but we also help you with the health score, right? So if there are still things to improve in the prompt, we will tell you. Like for instance, in this case here, so the prompt only got 32 points.
So the idea here is you can go to autopilot, it will give you suggestion, you can review the suggestion, you like it, you accept it, you can just same like this, you can just copy paste your own prompt, and then you have this health score which is going to guide you the score and all. So yeah, can work both the ways.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Mukesh. Any other one last question?
Yep. So, Mukesh and Alex, just curious to know, like this looks pretty impressive. So, is there any way that we can know, like, these agents are interacting with which model or LLM? Just out of curiosity, I'm just asking this.
Sure. So Mukesh can show. So we have a created list of models that you get to select when you're designing your agent. But these days the models are, let's say, very each and every other day they get on the market. So we expect to add even more here. So if you go on the key here.
This is what I was looking. Yeah.
Okay, you'll get to see the selection of models here.
Okay. So it supports only GPT. It doesn't support, I mean, the free versions available in the market.
Currently, these are the versions that are supported here. So if, I don't know, if you have a certain request, you might reach out to us and yeah, we can further discuss.
No.
But this,
I'm just trying to understand. So yeah, GPT is a very good model, and it supports the production grade applications. It helps, and it is very accurate. But if someone wants to try using the open source models, just curious to understand. That's all. Yeah, it looks good.
this is something we are looking at, but currently, in order to have it predictably working, this is the curated selection of models.
Yeah. The list which you guys are showcasing is very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
I see two more questions in the chat. Can I know how the long-term and short-term memory is used for agent?
So what where we use the memory thing is, for instance, if you have an escalation app, so the agent at some point needs to raise an escalation, right? And at that point, you get to select whether you want that the user input, right, the human input, to be memorized for further action. So that's one way we are using the memory there. And that's pretty much it. Of
Yeah.
course, with autopilot on the entire platform, there autopilot can be aware of certain things like about information in the UiPath organization you're part of. Agential
Are
option.
there
Okay. Mhm.
Are there any agential options that do not use tokens? And are there any plans in giving the companies options to use local models? Last ones.
I'd love to hear more about that use case, Simas. So would you please reach out to me on LinkedIn maybe so we can better understand that use case of using local models? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I think there would be more questions, but our time today is up. You have already in the chat an invite for the August Dev Dives to build automations faster and more reliably with UiPath UI Agent. You have the links in the chat, so feel free to join them already. See you on the 27th of August, same time. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Mukesh. Thank you, Mihai. And thank you, everybody, for the presence, for the questions, for the demo and the presentations.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.